So, if you are serious about growing your production and building a business that doesn't stop when you do, then these weekly mastermind drops are going to be for you. I'm going to pull back the curtain on exactly what's working right now for top agents across the country. So, let's get to work.
All right, everybody. Good morning. We're top of the hour. Happy Wednesday. This is our normal collaboration call, but today we get to interview Leo Pareja. Golly, 97 people in here already and growing. So impressed. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for being on time. I'm just going to take 2 minutes and talk about three things really quick, and then I'm going to turn it over to Eric and the interview of Leo Pareja, our eXp CEO. First thing, Slack. We all have heard workplaces going away. Facebook discontinued it. Nothing to do with eXp. It's a Facebook decision, and you've seen now for a couple of months that Slack is happening. I just want to tell you, the Freedom Team does have a Slack channel. We have not yet, though, decided how or if we want to use it. So we've not uploaded everybody's information to it yet. But I would suggest to you, definitely you're going to want to plug into your state meeting channels, the referral network channels, anything that makes sense to you. And be sure you go in and figure out how to turn off the notifications, because those will drive you crazy if you're getting notifications from all the channels you've been put in. So that was the first thing. Second thing I want to talk about, our next big meeting is next Tuesday, August 26th. Freedom Team leader Andy Hollis is going to be hosting that meeting. And please put that in your calendar right now. It's 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 Pacific, our normal time. It's on the normal Zoom link, freedomteamzoom.live. And please start plugging into these meetings. And if you do any attractions, get your groups plugged into. Please lead by example. We have had numerous testimonials from great agents that you would think, based on their experience, they didn't need any additional training. Yet, by plugging into our regular Tuesday masterminds, many have reported six-figure increases in GCI per year. So that's all on that. Mondays and Thursdays, we sort of earmarked for attraction. If you're into agent attraction, please show up then. And then, of course, our normal Wednesday call is collaboration. And this meeting is designed based on your questions, what you ask when you show up. It's a lot of fun. So, but go back to Tuesday. Tuesday, Andy's going to be unveiling our all new YouTube channel. It's been completely redone. You're going to love it. And he's going to roll out our totally redesigned Freedom Team website. That's freedomteamsupport.com. And if you want to check out the eXp Freedom Team YouTube channel, it's just that, at eXp Freedom Team. So more on those next Tuesday. Please make sure you're there. That's on our Tuesday mastermind, where it's all about increasing your sales. Everything is going to be now in one place. Everything you need about eXp is going to be on that website. Now, I'm going to leave you with a challenge before I turn it back over to Eric. Make that Tuesday mastermind training a non-negotiable recurring event in your calendar for the rest of this year. Then commit to being there every single week. Now, if in 30 or 60 days you're not finding massive value, delete it. But give it a chance. Thank you so much again for being here. On with Leo, and back to you, my friend Eric.
Well, thank you, Tim. Great job in covering some of those things. And by the way, beautiful shirt. I think it's awesome. Want to touch base on a couple of things. Many of you don't know, there are 7 of us that are leading this eXp Freedom Team. We meet every Friday, religiously every Friday, for 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes. And all we're talking about is how to improve whatever we can do to assist you. So I want to encourage you, reach out to any of us in any capacity that you can get to us, whether it be on a phone, an email, through Slack, any way you can connect with us. If you have ideas or thoughts in order to help us help you. And that's, again, the bottom line for what we've formed this team in today's session to be. I want to remind you that one of the things that came out of the meetings that we have every week is the website that Tim referenced, the Freedom Team Support website. It's still freedomteamsupport.com, but it is unbelievable. Okay, so I highly recommend you get there. Everything's soup to nuts. And again, we're going to cover that next week with Andy on Tuesday. Lastly, eXpCon's coming. I know that Leo's going to touch on that in just a minute. But we have a special reception. I want to encourage everybody to be there. It's an unbelievable event. It's the best event of the year. eXpCon, again, covered by the company. Don't let time or money be an excuse not to get more time and more money. That's really what it's all about. You have 2 months to plan it. Let's get it in your calendars. And let's get on Tuesday of that event in October. Meet us at the Ole Steakhouse. We got hors d'oeuvres for you. We're going to have some fun. We'll grab some drinks and we'll get to know each other. We haven't had a chance to meet many of you face to face. And be honest with you, this is the first time the 7 leaders have been able to get together in the last few years. So this is going to be an amazing event, highlighted again by us just fellowshipping together. With that said, you didn't come for the announcements, but it's important that you heard them. What you really came for is to hear a different perspective from Leo Pareja. And the reason you have a different perspective is we decided to ask him things that were atypical of what you would normally hear. I'm going to say before I get into the interview 2 things. Number 1, Leo's everywhere. When I say Leo's everywhere, I legitimately, I'll go to bed, put the TV on just to sort of go to grog and go on YouTube and I see Leo. Leo's talking to Buffini. Leo's talking to Ferry. Leo's talking to people like us. And so I want you to know what he's doing outside of eXp. Secondly, he's doing interviews like this, podcasts like this for people within eXp. He truly is leading by example. And again, we're going to ask him some questions that you've not ever heard him answer before. You're in for a treat. We decided not to go live because of schedules. We've recorded this. We're going to put the recording on right away. But I highly recommend you put your camera on. Don't be sidetracked by messaging over the next 30 to 45 minutes. What Leo's going to lay out will give you incredible belief in the company you've joined, an incredible belief that the company has your back. Bottom line is, we're at eXp for a reason. Leo's about to explain why. Here's the interview. It is awesome to have CEO of eXp, Leo Pareja. Every time I look at I'm from Miami, and every time I look at your last name, I'm like, how do I pronounce this? But I think I have it right. Pareja works for you, doesn't it?
You got it.
And you live in the Miami area, don't you?
I do. I moved to Miami 6 years ago. I live in Coral Gables.
Oh, beautiful area. And well, welcome home. I guess you can walk to eXpCon. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But we really do appreciate your time today. We know how many things you're doing within the eXp ecosystem, and of course outside of it for agents abroad and other things that you're focused on. So we see you almost everywhere on YouTube, and I'm impressed every time I do. I have my Freedom Team leader, Kelly Fasterling, with us. We're going to throw some questions at you. We think they're sort of unique to what you've delivered before. We want to give our people, our listeners, some great new stuff. So I'm going to start with the original question. Everybody says.
Before we even go there, I want to touch on something you just referenced. And one of the things that I hope to do for you guys all the time is model behavior. And, what you said is the result of a lot of effort of you see me everywhere on YouTube, on social, that does not come naturally to me. I don't like it. We built a system and a process that works for my personality, right? So, if we look at some of the other leaders who were very successful, forward facing, one, it was an aha kind of kick in the butt and go, you know what, I have to do it, right? I think in almost any moment in time in society and everything, you kind of have to make a decision. It's like, okay, forget my feelings, forget the emotions attached to this. Is this where the attention lives, right? So in 2008, 9, and 10, in the market I served, like if you didn't do REO or short sales, you didn't get to sell real estate. And so you had to have this decision. And I remember talking to agents like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. And I said, great. Do you still want to serve families? This is what you need to do now. So in this world where we live in, and attention is the most important commodity, right? I would say 10 years ago information was, but now, with large language models, you have anything you want from an information standpoint in your pocket. Now it's attention, right? And it's been attention for a while, but it's now even more important. And so I would invite you all to model what I'm doing for you guys with your business, right? And where I get excited about it is if to be in production today, to keep a sphere of influence business going, it's so much easier because now you can just follow them on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and wherever your people live. And by the way, that's your job to figure out where their attention is and just interact with them, right? Like us that have been selling real estate for a long time, I used to have to come up with excuses to send them mailers and talk to them about, the postage going up or, the battery changing or your tax forms versus now I can actually have an engaging, authentic conversation about your kids, your spouse, your partner, your hobbies, the stuff that's truly interesting to you. And oh, by the way, remind them you're still in real estate, right? So I would say 80-20 socialization to confidence building. But I just think it's, if you're willing to lean in, it's such an amazing time, right? Because I believe I'm in a one-to-one digital relationship with 80-some thousand eXp agents. But the cooler part is I'm on a one-to-one relationship with agents not at our company. And because of this medium of communication, this high-speed delivery method that we're enjoying right now on this conversation, I can be in relationship with agents long before they ever join eXp. And same with you guys. And by the way, same with buyers and sellers who are choosing a real estate professional to take care of them.
I appreciate you slowing me down for that process, because I do know some of the leadership in other companies, some of those that have come after us and tried to model us. And the one thing that they have not been able to do, well, one of the things they've not been able to do is capture someone like you. It's a tremendous honor to have you, at this point steering the ship. But it's always exciting to see that you're not only up there, steering the ship, but we find you everywhere. And the fact that it's outside of your normal personality and your desire is a great testament to not only your commitment to us, but also what our commitment should be to our career and what we want to do with our career. So thank you.
I think it's easy to say, I don't like it. But the question is, if that's where the attention lives, like, for example, I'm not good at turning on the camera and just talking to it myself, like some other folks do, and they do a really good job. I'm not saying it as a negative. It's more of, I just don't have it in me. So for me, I'm really good conversationally. So most of the content you see chopped up and delivered to the world is conversations that I'm having. So we can take, I will ask you for a copy of this, and that one part in the beginning, I can actually chop up into additional content. And this is what I would invite all of you to do, right? Just start recording a lot more interactions for that same reason, right? And so find a way that's suitable to your personality, your likes and dislikes, to be able to operate in the new normal and not just say, I don't like that, and then kind of dismiss it as something you're not willing to do.
You are, again, as we've talked about, leading the charge here. You had lots of options to go to. A few years ago, you decided with conversation through Glenn and some of the other people, you decided to take the seat of the CEO in eXp. Why us? Why here? Why now?
Yeah, so I can tell you how I got here, which was a very organic process. And I think that's a thing that we as human beings kind of look at a finished product role and kind of think it was binary. And that's not how life is. It kind of looks like this, right? So after I sold my last company, I never had a job. I haven't had a job before this one. And Glenn called me and said, hey, will you come join my leadership group? And he wanted me to be the chief technology officer. And I told him I could play one on TV, but I didn't actually like it that much. And I turned him down, like, flat out. And then he called me back a week later and said, come hang out with me next time you're near me. And we met up in the West Coast, and we got along really well. And he said, hey, what's your next idea? And I said, I don't have it, but I probably will start another company since I've done it 3 other times. He said, well, until you do, why don't you come hang out with me and help me fix some problems? I have a little company that became a big company. And whenever you're ready to leave, I'll high five you, and hopefully I get to invest in your next venture. It was hard to say no to, which was a very well structured objection handler. So Glenn is a better salesperson than most people probably give him credit for. 6 months in, I had my hands in everything and I was having a good time. And he told me, he's like, hey, I want to change your title to Chief Strategy Officer, which lets you, do a lot more behind the scenes. I became an officer of the company, but you could still, not be forward facing, which was what I had expressed. And then for like every 6 months thereafter, he sat me down and asked me when I was ready. And I kept saying no until March of last year came about and the NAR settlement exploded, and I became very forward facing for the agents in the company. And he called me that following Sunday and was like, you are the CEO. And I went into my objection handling script and he said, no, you are the CEO. This is not optional. And it was a very organic process. 3 years ago, you'd asked me if I would be sitting here. It was not on my roadmap. But I think that's how life happens, right? It's an evolution. It feels right. It made sense. The coolest part for me to be able to lead this company is that a lot of the agents here have been my friends for decades, right? I knew them as peers, as competitors, as friends, as fellow participants in masterminds. And I think the biggest distinction of myself versus other leaders in the space is I'm one of you guys, right? I just happen to be on the corporate side now, but I grew up selling real estate in the trenches, doing the work. And that's kind of what I obsess with every day.
Leo, in your view, What do you think truly sets eXp apart from every other brokerage out there?
Well, a couple of ways of answering that, Kelly. First of all, I do think people join people. I think companies are just purely collections of human beings. And at both levels, at both the agent customer level, because that's who the relationship is, with the corporate team, right? So our company is different in the sense it was founded by someone who actually sold a lot of real estate. It's led by someone who sold a lot of real estate, and everybody else on the leadership team fed their families doing it, right? With maybe exception of a couple of the folks on the technical side. That's not very common in big corporations. A lot of them are from outside the industry. They're trying to disrupt it or fix it, but never have walked a mile in the shoes of the folks they serve. And when you look at our team, Holly's a third generation broker, right? Wendy was a phenomenal agent who built a brokerage and sold it. Amy, we just go down the line of folks with leadership titles in this company, then they all fed their families by selling real estate. And so I think that's kind of the beginning and the end of what differentiates us, because as I was meeting with Glenn in the West Coast, and I said, well, what's kind of your North Star? And he said, simple, to be the most agent-centric company on the planet, right? And I've actually even heard some of our competitors kind of make fun of it and say it's so simple, but simple is not easy, right? That is how we make decisions. That's how we decided last summer that we were going to rewrite forms and go against the grain and piss a lot of people off, because it was the thing to protect agents the most and the consumer the most, right? It's how we make decisions on software, on training and coaching. And one thing I talk about often, and I say marketers ruin everything. And that is kind of the goal of almost all businesses, is to find an outside return on an effort or dollar spent. And so we spend $10 hoping to make $100 if you find a unique marketing opportunity. And what happens is if it works, you spend a lot of it. And then other people go, well, what Kelly's doing works. So then they do it too. And then eventually it kind of becomes less interesting. And think about email and text and social early and all of the shifting sands that happen with marketing. I think part of the innovation dilemma is to always be finding the better way to do it, right? Because as we do things, eventually our competitors are like, we're going to do it too, right? And so, and you can't actually get upset about it and complain. It's like, okay, be better. Figure out how to deliver more value, improve the value proposition. And at the same time, technology is moving faster. So there's bigger platforms being developed, and how do you partner with them? How do you integrate with them? And so I view first and foremost the collection of human beings that you get to be in business with. And then I very simply view the company as a platform that allows entrepreneurs to build whatever size dream they want to build, right? That could be selling 8 homes a year. It could be selling 2,000 homes a year, and you got to give Parker Pemberton of Minnesota a run for his money, right? Or you can build, an organization with a couple people in it, or you can try to build the biggest organization we have. And there is no right or wrong. And the one thing that I'm super clear about is that there's a season to everything, right? You could be in a season where you're willing to do X but not Y, and then you could be another season where Y makes sense. And so I think a lot of times we try to put all things into one bucket, and that's where most people get lost. And it's first of all, it's understanding with what your goals are for your family. I would encourage you to optimize your sales business to give you that, right? Hours you're willing to trade for X amount of dollars you're willing to earn, and optimize that first. And at the same time, take care of the whole being, make sure you're healthy and happy and spending time with the people you care about.
And we have eXp coming up right around the corner here in October. Why should our agents truly make that trip to eXpCon? What are they going to get from it? What's their payoff?
So I think anytime we get together in person, because we're a virtual company, is actually even more special because it's on purpose. It's intentional, and I think eXpCon is the marquee, amazing event of the year. If you've enjoyed any virtual event or a small in-person one, whether it's a rally or a build event or whatever you attended locally, no matter who put it on, when you're at eXpCon, it's at a grander scale, right? It's 5,000-6,000 people. The amount of training, the content that's available to consume, enjoy. I mean, it is amazing. And so I would encourage anyone to get to those major events because it gives you context. It gives you context of what other people are doing, good or bad, right? Sometimes we beat ourselves up because we maybe had a flat or down year. And then you realize that you actually outperform your market. And you didn't know that because you didn't attend my, context chat where I give you guys a bunch of information about dates and absorption and rates and what to expect for the following year. But then you can go down to the breakout tracks and attend anything that is very important to your business, right? This entire breakouts are just investing in real estate and being a solo producer, taking more listings, turning from a buyer's agent to a listing agent. Or, if you're a mega producer, how do you optimize cost of goods sold and have a better margin in your business? I think it's the marquee event of the year. It's my favorite one of the year. And it's just, we get to be in community as a whole group. And it just, to me, there's nothing like it. I look forward to it every single year.
We love going to the events. Of course, there's the build type of events, and then there's the opportunity just to get with the company. And this is a great opportunity to do that. I do encourage everybody to do so. You opened up a wonderful question for us, and that's this. You said there's all these breakout sessions. So let's flip into the next question, which would be, if you were an agent today, regular, we'll call it the normal agent, the $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 million a year kind of agent, with the last couple of years being a little more difficult than most previous, at least for the last half a dozen. What would you tell them to focus on at this point? What would be your first move that you would say, let's start focusing a little bit more here if you were in sales today?
So the first thing I would do is I would make sure people understood to control activity, right? So, there's a couple ways to answer that question, Eric. The first thing I tell people is you need to have an understanding of what it is you earn per hour. So the math problem for everybody listening is to take your 1099 from 2024 and divide it by 2,080 hours. 2,080 hours. That is what the labor department says is a full work year, right? And normally when I tell people that, they could have a visceral reaction of a smile or a frown, right? And this is the really pragmatic conversation. First of all, I think you owe it to yourself and your family to do this math problem every year. And if it's, significantly or below where you could earn in a more traditional job, you should have an honest conversation with yourself, because this opportunity in real estate takes you away from your family on nights and weekends and is stressful and there's no guarantees, there's no health benefits, there's no vacation time. So in a very pragmatic and kind of depressing way, you should actively hold yourself accountable every year if there's an easier way for you to provide for your family. Most people smile and go, I didn't know I made, $30, $40, $50, $60 an hour. So the second part of the math problem is to actually, for 1 week, track what you do every single day in 10-minute increments. And I would encourage you to do it for the hours that you technically work. And the first thing you'll find out is there's a whole bunch of stuff that wastes time, right? Like, how much time do you actually spend on Facebook? Right? Not prospecting, right? Scrolling versus creating content and engaging. Like, if you were to tell me that you're going to spend 2 hours a day on Facebook and Instagram commenting on your sphere of influence, then that's prospecting, in my opinion, right? It's engaging in conversation and DMing and creating content and doing walkthroughs of new inventory and active listings in your market. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, arguing over politics and stupid stuff you should not be engaging with others on. Then secondly, you can then figure out what it is you do to generate leads. Because, Eric, I don't think most people in that production level that you just, and I'm answering the question specifically to what you asked, can actually tell me how they generate their business. The crazy thing is, if I asked a $100 million producer, they can tell me the sources, the percentage splits, buyers versus sellers, cost per lead acquisition. At $7 to $10 million, which is that you said 7, 8, 9 million, it's almost haphazard. It's not accidental. Right? So what I want out of that exercise is to actually identify how it is you generate business. And then you need to schedule 2 or 3 hours of just that every day, period. End of the discussion. That's the one thing I would do. Because one is identifying what it is you do for a living. And then again, the leverage cycle is by adding staff employees, virtual assistants. And then, sometimes I talk to agents who are like, I don't want to be a team leader. And I said, most people shouldn't. Right? My first thing is you probably shift your skills from taking buyers to sellers, right? If you purely swapped out doing $10 million a year, depending on the market, that could be 10 transactions, but it's probably closer to 20 to 30 transactions. Let's say you're sitting at 20, 25 transactions and you're maxed out on hours you're willing to work, but you don't want to build a team, which is perfectly okay. If you just swapped out that lead generation activity for sellers, you could probably triple your unit volume as a solo producer in listings purely because you're not in the car. And on average, it takes 87 hours to do a buyer and 30 hours to do a seller.
That's excellent advice for people. Now, eXp provides just an immense amount of opportunity for agents. Which eXp program or training do you think our agents overlook or underuse and shouldn't?
The one that I'm obsessed with, especially for that agent you just asked me about, Eric, the $7 to $10 million agent and down, new agents, I would encourage everybody to go through FastCap. So FastCap is a 6-week intensive, almost reigniting program if you're experienced, where it's all about activity. It's just exactly what I just talked about, right? And the results have been phenomenal. In the first 2 quarters of the year, we put close to 8,500 agents through it. And the results for the folks that did the minimum activity were 6.9 set appointments and 3.9 signed agreements, either a listing agreement or buyer agency agreement, right? And so, like, I have a real anecdotal story. I spoke at a rally and a young lady came up to me, a little frustrated, said she hadn't closed a deal in like 6, 7, 8 months. And she said she was struggling, wasn't sure what to do. And I said to her, how serious are you about this question? Because a lot of people just ask me an open-ended question. And she said, no, I'm serious. I said, go take FastCap and message me on social or Slack or wherever you can find me and tell me what happened. And she did. She messaged me about 8 weeks later and she said, I have 2 listing appointments, 1 signed, and I'm working with 4 buyers. Like, this is what I needed, right? And the reality about all of this is it's not rocket science. You're not going to get an aha that unlocks some magic way of doing it. It all comes down to blocking and tackling, right? Like, most things in life are simple. It's just not easy. I love the concept of, I think every single person with access to internet knows how to lose weight if they wanted to. And it's either, burn calories and be at a deficit or eat less calories and be at a deficit. If you want to learn just about any skill in the world right now, we live in this era with YouTube as a teacher where you can learn anything you want. It's just choosing to do that thing. I'm doing a fast right now and I'm on day 2 of a 5-day fast and I was warned that by day 3 is like the worst with my hangriness. My wife joked this morning. She's like, I'm going to make sure I'm out of the house that day. But like, if you want to do a fast, like you don't need a teacher or a coach, right? Like there's enough content out there in the world where you want to do a water fast, you want to do a low calorie one that still puts you in ketosis, like the one I'm doing. But like, if you want to work out, you don't even need a gym. You can do body weight. Like there's so many ways to consume information. And the same goes to real estate, right? Decide what type of client you want to work with. You want to do buyers, you want to do investor grade, you want to do luxury, you want to do renters. You can do anything you want. And there's endless amounts of education. One, we have a ton. But again, like you just need to make the decision that that's what you want to focus on.
Yeah.
We have 3 more questions for you, but time-wise, do you have time?
We're good. We're good. Keep going.
Okay, Kelly, go ahead.
I've been here 6 years, Leo, and since you've come on board, you have added just immense value to eXp's culture, eXp's tools. Which wins are you personally most proud of?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm proud of all of it. It's like as a dad, I'm always proud of all the little things, right? So the one I'm most proud of, hands down, is operational improvement, right? So like any company, we were a little company that became a big company, and you were here as we grew and broke stuff. And when I came here, my one thing was operational excellence. So the speed at which we respond to a ticket, how fast we pick up the phone that's on hold. The fact that when you call that number now, it's first level of service, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's how fast we disperse commissions. It's the response time to broker questions, which is not the sexy stuff, right? It's not the cool partnerships I brought in or software, because at the end of the day, I'm not confused. We are a brokerage, right? There's 3 or 4 other CEOs who say they're tech companies who happen to be in real estate. I'm a brokerage that's tech enabled. And I think that's the DNA difference. It's embedded in who we are and what we do and how we view the world.
And it shows. It shows. When you're attracting agents to eXp on another subject, what does your ideal prospect look like? And how do you start that conversation today?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So one thing that was very clear to me when I got here is we're not all things to all people. Coming up with that distinction is very important, right? I think the industry currently breaks down into three buckets. You have, and that's the companies. The first one is what I would call the uncapped legacy companies. Fill in the blank, new and old, by the way. There's newer ones and older ones, but a split with no cap. And the philosophical argument is that the brand delivers so much value that you pay for that. And again, you're kind of like luxury brands, but you're legacy brands that still have it. The second bucket is cap and split model, which is both us and our legacy ones like KW and Remax. And then the third bucket is flat fee, period. The one thing I'm super clear about is we won't be all things to all people. Not a single company in any of those buckets have 100% market share, right? If you look historically, Keller and Remax both touched 10 to 15% market share depending on the year, because obviously the years where they had the most agents, there was the most denominator, right? So 1.6, 1.7 million agents versus 1.4. I think as we build a value proposition is understanding who we are. And I think we are the home of the producer. If you look our per person productivity, it's one of the highest in the industry. If you look where the most top producing team leaders and solo producers are, it's here. We are not, office heavy on the marketing. We'll do it all for you. We say we'll give you a cap, and we are giving you those savings back and allowing you to build more entrepreneurially. I think who is aligned with us is the highly entrepreneurial agent who aspires to be productive. They don't have to be productive yet. Some of my favorite stories are the agent, like there's an agent, Jeremy Larson came here at $9 million in production, went to 30 million, went to 80 million, went to 100 million. I think in May, he closed $47 million in May, right? He's on track to do 400 plus million. Tina Call came at 40 million. She's at 400 million, right? Like my favorite stories are the ones of growth. The ideal candidate is for someone who is tech forward, right? Because we're virtual and very tech leaning, but highly entrepreneurial and wants to do big things. And oh, by the way, if your aspiration is to sell 8, 10 homes a year, like I love that agent. And there is no, you have to. You don't have to grow to a certain size. You don't have to expand geographically. You don't even have to attract. 86% of our agents don't participate in rev share in a meaningful way. They're here to sell homes. And that's why operational excellence is my number one focus. And I look at the rev share opportunity as no different than if we were at a different system and you guys were buying territories and franchises, right? It's just an asset light, less liability, less financial commitment if you want to.
I'm going to part B that question. I came 7.5 years ago, again, saw incredible growth in numbers of agents. Right now, because of the market and the company, we've hovered around a number for a few years. Mm-hmm. What's going to be our reason to move past that number? Why should we feel great about hitting a triple digit versus an 80, 85, 90,000?
Yeah, so we went from we ramped up, and then also the context, Eric, right? We went from 7 million transactions in 2021 down to 4 million transactions in 2023 and 4 and 5 again, right? That is a collapse, right? That's like a 40, 50% contraction in the market. So when we were that big, we lost a lot of agents to attrition. So most 65% of the agents we lost in the last 24 months have gone to a job. We're not losing them to a competitor. They're losing to not succeeding in real estate. Much higher than normal rates. And so when your denominator is bigger, you're more affected, right? So last quarter was our first sequential increase in agents in the last 24 months, which again goes to the market, right? The folks that couldn't survive have washed out. Like a lot of people had to get out. Though the ones that are in the business are either used to this low transaction environment because they got licensed recently or they've succeeded through it. And so we started growing again modestly. And again, in the short term, and if you were an analyst on a Wall Street call, like, when are you going to get to X? I actually say, I don't care when I get there. What I care about is giving Eric and Kelly the best experience as agents in paying you guys on time and answering your broker questions and giving you tools to support your growth of whatever you want your business to look like. But I do think the next 24 months, because it's not going to get any better, there will be a huge opportunity where and if you've noticed in the last 2 years, in that same 2 years, the people who have joined us are uber productive, right? Number 1, 2, 3s, and 4s at every company in the world. Entire independent brokers are coming over. 20, 30, 50, 60, 90 at a time. Yesterday, last week, we onboarded a group of 109, right? Those numbers didn't used to be normal 5 years ago, right? And the more we're in this moment of pain as an industry of low transaction account, high interest rates, a lot of upheaval, those numbers of joiners get bigger, right? Like 150 at a time, 200 at a time. So I think directionally, Eric, we are still the most interesting, innovative company on the planet. And internationally, it's super exciting. I think, it took us 5-6 years to really figure out what works for us internationally. And Eric, you've been here a long time. You saw finding product market fit and adjusting. We had to do that overseas. We've seen some of our biggest launches, like we launched Ecuador and grew to like 200 agents in 60 days with closings, which is the most important thing, right? And we're going to some massive markets. We're opening up Japan and South Korea and Hong Kong that, like, from a population standpoint, are just massive in an opportunity. So I'm extremely excited. I'm very bullish, and I feel like we're early in our story.
I'll ask you one, what would have been futuristic question, but we're living in the AI world, so nothing's too futuristic. And then after that, whatever closing comments you have, we again, in advance, we both, Kelly and myself and the Freedom Team leaders, we truly appreciate what you do, how you do it, and the fact that you'd spend a few minutes with us and the people that are listening as well. AI is on everyone's mind. I saw you do a number of it's not good having a TV in the bedroom, because I pop on YouTube and you're there and I'm up till 3 a.m. And I know that you have become quite an aficionado in some areas of the AI world. I knew that of Glenn, didn't know that of you. With that said, we know that the future business will be done by agents using AI. How do we start? Not as a company, but as an individual, how do we start?
Yeah, great question. I think that's almost where everyone gets stuck on anything, right? So you could ask me that question about any subject, and that's kind of the paralysis by analysis. And I live in Miami, and I can tell you that 5-6 years ago, it was like crypto bros were everywhere and telling me how the whole world was going on chain and how blockchain was going to disrupt everything. And the reason I bring that up is because it's an analogy. In most technologies, there is a lot of hype and over talk in the beginning, but it's almost always underhyped in the long run, right? So the first big technology shift that we experienced in real estate was, in my career, was going online, right? And being able to, I could look up MLS listings from my house. That was a thing, right? Before I had to drive into the office and use that portal. Then this thing changed everything for us in real estate. And this is version 16, right? Let's go back to version 1. Version 1 was an iPod that played songs and allowed me to make calls. That was it. This thing is the keys to my car. It is my wallet, right? Like, it's like I actually have my credit cards in here now. It is how I authenticate my passport. It is how I validate financial transactions through Face ID. It is very, very distant than what it was in version 1. So you've lived through a couple of cycles of this with social, right? So to answer your question, Eric, we are at MySpace. I am convinced that whatever becomes the winner in 3 to 5 years, we don't even know its name yet, right? So have that be a moment of kind of relief, right? Because, like, if I could tell you, we could go back to, like, what was it, 2008, Kelly, and I could encourage you to open up a YouTube channel, like, that would be the life hack of life hacks. But right now, we're before YouTube. We're in Friendster or MySpace. And so the encouraging thing, as Eric, is just start playing with it. And unlike any other technology that's come before it, you can ask it questions. So first of all, play with all of the LLMs. So obviously everyone is familiar with ChatGPT, but play with Perplexity, play with Claude, play with Grok, and start asking it the same question through different instances to see which ones you kind of hone in and use for certain things. And I'll close with a story that Brandon knows I tell a lot now, because I think we're probably thinking of it incorrectly from the real estate standpoint. So I spoke at a rally in Houston, and Brandon Schneider from Houston stood up and told a story, and I've retold it a couple times. But did you both use Fixer? I gave it away as part of the value proposition, Fixer AI.
Yeah, the first, yeah.
Yep. So you saw how quickly that added time to your day, right? 20, 30 minutes by sorting your email. So this is a real story. Brandon Schneider is an agent with us in Houston. Got an email on a Saturday from a consumer who went to ChatGPT, didn't go to Google, went to ChatGPT and said, who is the most agent investor friendly agent in Houston? And it gave Brandon's name and email. And Brandon received an email. His fixer, he was actually playing with his son, drafted a response immediately, like within 3 minutes, and gave options of when to talk to the consumer. The consumer picked a time, which was the following Tuesday. It was quick. It was empathetic. It was detailed. It was better than Brandon would have written it when he was being present with his son. Mm-hmm. And that next Tuesday, they did a virtual call. I heard him tell the story recently, and it turned out the guy was actually out of the country. And then 14 days later, he was under contract to buy an investment property, all cash. AI was involved in two places. One, the consumer found Brandon on an LLM. So the actionable thing, Eric, is to go. So if anyone listening or watching this is big on SEO and has done a lot with their website, I would go play on Google and type in the keywords that got you to come up in the result set, and then go into all the LLMs I just mentioned, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude. Claude is Anthropic, if you hear that one. And Grok is the last one. Yeah. And ask it the questions to see if you would even come up. And by the way, if you don't come up in the search results, but you do in the SEO results, ask the LLM, what do I need to do different in my body of work, right? Because it's no longer, so videos indexing, Instagram is indexing, Facebook is indexing, right? There's many, many ways to become an expert now. The one thing that everyone should do is ask the AI, how do you become relevant in an AI world, right? Because then you need to focus on creating content or have a strategy around making sure you're relevant in this new world. And for anyone listening to me who's unsure of that, it's like, how has your behavior changed in search in the last 12 months? Right? 12 months ago, we were all like 99% Google. I barely use Google now, right? Like the one thing I still use in the Google suite is Google Maps, because like something near me is very contextual and better. But again, super real example. I was diving over the weekend with my daughter. She's 10 years old. She got certified, and we were on a boat from Key Biscayne out to something called Neptune Memorial Reef, which is, you're familiar with it, Eric, if you're from Florida. But if you go to Google Map, and I didn't know how far away we were from the dive site to put on my wetsuit on the boat. And I went to Google Maps and I said Neptune Memorial Reef, and the physical address in Fort Lauderdale popped up, because that's where you give the donations. It's the crematorium. It's that whole thing. And I put in longitude, I asked it all the questions and I couldn't get it to do it. I opened up my ChatGPT and I said, what is the exact location of Neptune Memorial Reef in the water? And longitude, and it gave me a Google Map longitude screenshot. And I said, give me the actual pin that I can open in Google Maps. And I clicked on that and it took me to Google Maps, and I was able to see my geograph, and I could eyeball it. I'm like, oh, I'm like 10 minutes away. I've got to put on my wetsuit. We're shifting on how we interact with information. And so the reason Brandon got that lead is because he responded faster than anybody else could have. Right. And it's because the AI wrote the email for him. Right. So it's overthinking it is where I think we're stuck. So what I would just invite everyone to do is to play and taste and experience. And some are going to suck. And by the way, your favorite one may go out of business in the next 3 to 5, 6, 12 months, because we're in that early phase. Right. I think in, the turn of the Gilded Age in the late 1800s, there was like 118 railroads. And then like 30 years later, there was like 4 of them left after the Great Depression. Right. So everyone's an AI startup now. A lot of them will disappear, but I'm telling you, there will be a new YouTube, a new Instagram, a new Facebook that becomes, ubiquitous in the world.
So what you're telling us when it comes to AI is put on our wetsuits, because we're about to dive.
It's not negotiable. It's here.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the time. We as a group have worked hard to not just take what eXp has given us, but add to it and do the things that we try to do as leaders to help. Part of bringing you on today is to let our agents know that, of course, we're there for them. You speak in groups like this all the time. Any final comments from you about eXp, the future, Kelly's beautiful hair color, whatever you want to talk about? Just go ahead.
Well, I think the coolest thing about this industry is that we help people achieve the American dream of homeownership. And I think if we can always go back to that and remember that that's the most important thing, that's what we do. And even with all this AI, I'll close on that thought. I don't think our role goes anywhere, right? I think that it's highly infrequent, it's very expensive, it's highly emotional. And when you add all that, most people want an expert advisor, which, by the way, over the last decade, the need and want and service has gone up. not down. And the more automation and the more self-serve there is, I think there's more of a need for that expert guide that can distinguish fact from fiction and hold someone's hand through it. Excuse me.
Yeah. I guess that means the meal was good.
No, I'm fasting. I haven't eaten.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So we can't blame you for that. But thanks again for all you do. I know you're always accessible. You have, at one point or another, you've had a plea to say, if you're out there and you know of a brokerage, an agent, or whatever, what would be your final words pertaining agents that are out here that do want to attract those bigger teams, bigger groups?
Yeah, I would say if you get yourself in a conversation with a top solo or a top team in your market that typically you may be a little nervous or shy about, or like, I'm not sure what value proposition to articulate because they're so much more productive or ahead in their real estate journey than I am, ask them if they want to talk to me, and I'm more than glad to jump on a call and, use common sense on how you wrote me into a conversation. But I would say anyone who you feel uncomfortable talking to, 50 million, 100 million, 200 agents, I'm not, and I'll help you.
Thanks, Lou. Thanks so much. We're all looking forward to seeing you in a couple of months at eXpCon. Keep doing what you're doing. If the Freedom Team can ever do anything for you, we're here to help.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Leo.
Bye. Nice to have everybody here. Just an encapsulation of the fact that been around the industry 40 plus years. I focus predominantly on helping agents attract other agents at the moment, but I've seen all kinds of CEOs. I've seen all kinds of agents, team leaders. And I will tell you that I've never seen a person like Leo that does what he does so well in both depth and breadth. He's everywhere in the company. His thumbprint is everywhere. And he does that by working with really, really, really good people. He identifies the right people and he anoints them with what he did today, just more information and more belief. It's impossible to review that 45 minutes that he was on and not feel better about who we are, who you are, and who you've attached your wagon to. We as Freedom Team leaders, we want to encourage you to plug into the things that we do, meet us in eXpCon, connect with us if you're struggling on the transaction or the production side, or if you're interested in the attraction side. There's lots of ways to help you in both. We do run a weekly schedule, this time every day, Monday through Thursday. Make sure you plug into our calendar. We take 1 hour to help you build your career. We believe every agent at eXp should be in a position to sell more real estate, and then hopefully put you in a position to be able to sell less real estate. We will put this recording out at some point today. And so we will make sure that it is available on our YouTube page within 24 hours. Again, everybody that's here, whether you're part of specifically the Freedom Team or not, we're glad that you're participating and plugging in. Don't make us and don't make yourself a stranger. We do look forward to helping you in any and every way we can, but helping does include your help. And your help is you've got to plug into the things we've created for you, and don't miss the website, again, freedomteamsupport.com. I think you will be overly impressed. Thanks for your time today, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.